Hey, what up guys? Today we're gonna do something different. We're gonna post on some losses as suggested in the comments, and we're gonna look at the mistakes we did and maybe improve from that shit. Now the PvP season just started yesterday. We queued up as Red Hunter. We did like 20 games, but we did lost 4 of them. So here they are. Alright, so the first game will be against Beast Mastery Hunter and Restoration Druid, right? Obviously we're playing Red Paladin Survival Hunter. And the great thing about playing with a good survival hunter is that he always, not always, but most of the times he manages to get the stealthies out, like this here. So I start off with a Judgment first, then Blade of Rat because I didn't have the range. I get my Execution Sentence, of course prior to that popping Wings, get the Wake of Ashes. Gonna stun here, gonna Trinket the Cyclone and stun the Druid. He gets into a trap and he trinkets that. Now right over here I'm gonna pop my shield and Eye for an Eye while keeping the damage in over here onto the Hunter. My Hunter gets stunned. No problemo, I get stunned as well. I'm gonna bop out of this shit. So this is like over here already there's a bit of mistakes here, overlapping a lot of defensives. I still had my Eye for an Eye out, but I used my bop not defensively necessarily, but just to get out of that stun. So remember, you can use bop for yourself, for your party members to get out of physical CC. Okay, so at least we have the trinket used by the Druid, right? So let's carry on. Now I'm gonna interrupt that heal and carry back here to the Hunter. So I have my Execution Sentence back, gonna kick it. Now this is a really good point, right? So he deterred, and right at this point, like the Druid doesn't have any trinket, I broke that trap and I decided, hey, maybe I'm gonna hit it for a little bit. And the thing is, at this point I fake cast here, interrupt, as you can see here, like on top, my Omnibar. So I managed to fake cast and then I managed to free cast some flashes of light, but it didn't really matter because at this point I was just plain off killed by all the dots from the Druid, and you know, just a hit from the Hunter's Pet would have killed me. So what went wrong here? Can anybody guess? Okay, let's take a little bit back. Okay, so let's see, we got the trinket from the Druid over here. I overlap defensives, which I shouldn't obviously. I get the both Shield of Vengeance and Eye for an Eye. But there's one critical mistake I did, okay? So goes to show, we're still learning, you know, we gotta learn from our mistakes, man, nobody's perfect. Okay, so right over here, right, I go interrupt the Druid, okay? And I keep on the pressure here. Now, I still get a lot of damage and I have the Basilisk on me, right? So what do I do here? He deters, this is the moment, right? At this point, after this stun, while he deterred, he still had 6 seconds of turtle aspect. Here, instead of me going and still hitting the shit, I should have just casted Flash of Light. I had full mana, at least 2 flashes of light, 100%. I could have casted, but instead, I got greedy and just started hitting. I used one Word of Glory, which was weak. I broke the trap from the Druid as well. I was hitting him, so that's also a mistake, but it wasn't the biggest one. But over here, like, it's just too late right now. So I recognize I should heal myself. I get the fake cast in, but it's a bit too late, right? I mean, it doesn't help out. So this is the thing, man. Sometimes playing greedy isn't like the answer, especially when you're fighting against healer DPS comps. Really fucked up. Then again, when he is in the turtle aspect, he cannot interrupt you, and the Druid casted his Tauren racial, right, the stun. So I had the possibility to kill myself and I didn't, which was a mistake. Okay, let's see another one. Okay, so this one is against Arms Warrior, Resto Druid, and of course we're fighting, all games are red survival, okay? So let's see what's happening here. Now the Druid doesn't go into stealth from the get-go. I'm waiting a bit in the back. I'm waiting for the warrior to be courageous, and I'm pretty sure he will be. So here it is. Here's the Blade of Rat, Judgment. I get the wings up. I get the Execution Sentence, Wake of Ashes, all the beautiful stuff. I get stunned. I'm gonna use my Rachel for that shit. I'm gonna set in the sphere, and this is really important. See, now we have a big cooldown. We have the tree form for the Druid. This is really good. Now let's see what's happening next. So I'm stunning here the Druid. I'm trying to hit him a little bit. I'm not like 100% sure that I have to like hit the warrior right now, because you know, I just want to put pressure over there. Since the Blade Storm popped up, I used my bop on my Hunter, and right now I'm getting back to the warrior. He got trapped, I broke it, no problem. Probably the trap was intended for the Druid, so I'm still hitting here the warrior. Now this is Die by the Sword. So what we have at this point, this is really good for us right now, because I still have my bubble. I still have 1 charge of Word of Glory. Looky here. Oh fuck. You can see right down, right here. I have a Seraphim's Blessing proc as well. So we're good, right? Druid doesn't have any trinket, right? He doesn't have his bark skin up. He doesn't have his tree form up. Warrior uses die by the sword. So we're really good, right? Let's see what happens. So I'm trying to not hit the warrior obviously while he's die by the sword, and I'm switching to the druid because I said, hey man, no more tree, we can kill the druid over here, right? And let's see what happens. We get the warrior into a trap, he trinkets that really good. Now we get a commanding shout by the warrior. I get a DR stun while I use my bubble just to remain offensively. Okay, use the flash of light from Seraphim's Blessing, and here is Iron Bark. Trying to interrupt that. Fortunately, the hunter got the interrupt, but at this point, I died. Now, what was the big mistake here? let's look a little bit back. So, at this point, right, we still have like the tree, right? We have the trinket used. We have, I think, at this point we get die by the sword as well. This is pretty much a good example of fucking it up. Okay, now this is the moment. At this point, we get a full-on stun onto the druid, and there's 3 more seconds of die by the sword on warrior. I should have stuck to the warrior. We both should have stuck to the warrior because druid had no more trinket. My stun was coming off as well. Trap was coming close as well. So it was beautiful, and the fact that we didn't have anything to worry about, right? We didn't have die by the sword, trinket. There was only Iron Bark over there. So let's see what happens, right? So I'm hitting here. I use my trinket here wrongly on the druid, and I keep on to the druid. Well, look, I have the Divine Purpose proc, I had like my Wake of Ashes ready as well, and the warrior was at 60% HP. It was a brilliant moment to just get back onto the warrior while controlling the druid and finish it off the game. But the mistake was, I tunnel visioned the fucking druid, and this is what happens. Yeah, I used the bubble, used everything over there, commanding shout as well. Granted, that was still unused, but it was pretty good to just switch back onto the warrior. There was nothing left for these guys to handle it, and we would have won. So again, guys, don't do it like me. I don't do it all the time, but once again, I'm playing these games and I'm showing these mistakes because somebody asked me in the comments. I cannot remember who right now. I'm sorry, dude. Just type it on the comments. I'll mention it in the next video. But you know, it's good to like look at the mistakes and learn from them. So this is what happens basically. Pay much attention to all the cooldown tunes and trinkets, and then make your swap. We could have won this definitely because we won different ones. Alright, next game is against Arms Warrior Discipline Priest, and I did say to my hunter Kerathen, you may know him from the YouTube channel or the Discord, to swap on Pain Suppressed. So as the warrior will get Pain Suppressed, we switch to the priest, right? This is like the main idea. So we're kicking it over here, starting the game off, you know, setting my focus and all of that shit. I'm gonna wait for the warrior to be courageous, because warriors tend to be like that. So where he is? Oh yeah, here it is. So here we go, Blade of Wrath, get the Judgment, pop here the wings, get Execution Sentence, Wake of Ashes, and 50% HP. We get to die by the sword and Blade Storm at this point, right? So I'm gonna get a stun onto the priest. He immediately trinkets that and gets Pain Suppression to the warrior. Now my hunter is getting pretty low, so I'm just gonna bop his ass to not use the turret just yet. So we're switching to the priest as agreed upon. I use my big red button trinket over here again. So both of them are pretty low right now, but the thing is, we're keeping on to the priest and he has all of his major cooldowns up, like barrier is here as well, and we're just ignoring that. Now we get like a trap onto the hunter, he trinkets that immediately. I get an interrupt onto the shadowman, and the hunter is getting pretty fucking low, so he has to deter. This resulting in our pressure being a bit fucked, it's way lower now. So I pop my eye for an eye over here, I get stunned, I'm gonna bubble this shit, and you know, keeping the damage still onto the priest like a goddamn train. Pretty hard, man, pretty hard. So once again I interrupt the shadowman. We're both now below 50% HP, trying to get this guy as much as possible. The warrior did get into a trap, he got dispelled by the priest. I get into a full fear over here, and that's all she wrote. So what was the fucking mistake on this one? Well, for starters, let's look a little bit at this point, right? No, a little bit back. So here we got die by the sword, right? And he's below 50% HP. Really good opener. It's ideal as Red Hunter to get to this point. But we still need Pain Suppression and Trinket. So let's see what happens next. Now I go over here and get the stun. We get the trinket. Okay, this is the trinket. We have die by the sword and trinket, and guess what? We get pain suppression as well. So at this point, it's still good to hit the priest, to switch onto the priest. There's like really no point on hitting the warrior too much right now. As I get the buff onto the hunter, you know, we keep it onto the priest over here, but this is the major mistake. Like once I used my big red button trinket over here, just on hitting both of them, spreading that damage, it was a mistake. This was the point where we should have switched back to the warrior, because there was nothing left. And we had like basically only my stun was on DR, right? We could have gotten a full trap onto the priest, and then as I used my holy power spenders, we could have gotten like another stun, and we would have killed the warrior. There was nothing left. So this is it. I mean, you can see like the CC is coming back, right? We get like, here is the stun on the priest here. We could have kept this like until DR, and we could have used that to kill the warrior. And by no means, I mean, this was not the hunter's mistake. Like the trap again. So the hunter like played according to plan, right? We said we're gonna switch to the priest. This means he's gonna CC the warrior, which is really good. The thing is, I called it wrong. We should have like switched back to the warrior. I should have said, hey man, after pain suppresses down, let's get back to the warrior and control the priest. It's something you gotta get going on the fly. Mind you, we didn't like use Discord or anything like that, but still, you gotta be aware of these things. And it's another classic example of, you know, watching the cooldowns, be aware, and then doing and making the right decision. So we had the trap and the stun from the hunter, and my stun was also getting ready. It would have been like a big ass CC chain to kill the warrior, but we didn't do that. Okay, we stuck onto the priest. Obviously, the hunter got really low. He had to deter. We lost a lot of momentum. And that's the thing about playing double DPS against healer DPS. You cannot afford to lose too much momentum, right? So, that's the mistake, man. That's the mistake when playing. Well, like, it's a good thing to switch on the priest when he uses pain suppression on his party member or whatever. But then get back to that party member and try to kill him. Because ideally, you have a trinket used as well. And it's guaranteed. We should have won this 100%. And for the last one, I got it here. It's again Arms Warrior and Resto Druid. It's sort of the same story, you're gonna see. So right off the bat, we're not gonna go charging in. Maybe my hunter will get the druid out of his stealth. That's usually the plan when we go and fight some stealth classes. But we didn't manage to do it, so we're stalling the game a little bit. Let him place his traps here and there. It's all good. Like when playing with a hunter, that stealth never going full on Rambo because you're missing a lot. Here's the druid, so now the warrior comes in. I get Blade of Justice, you know, get it full on trap onto the druid, and I have my burst here with Wake of Ashes. I'm gonna trinket this. Now Wake of Ashes, I get disarm. Really good job on this warrior. I mean, I have to give it props to him because as I pop my wings, he immediately tried to like kite away, you know, interrupt, disturb all of my shit, just to not take as much damage. And he did. I mean, he did a good job. He's at 68%. Usually when we get full on opener, it's 50% minimum and below that. So really good job by him. I'm in a fear, right? I'm still gonna try to do this shit. So I stun here the druid. He stays into that. We get here the iron bark. Really good. And we're still keeping the damage onto the warrior. We're getting pretty fucking low, as you can see. So what do we get here? Really, really important. Let's pause it for a second. We get the tree form. And we get die by the sword, right? Really important cooldowns. All we need now is another trinket from one of these guys at least. So let's carry on. As die by the sword is up, there's no point on me hitting the warrior, so I'm just gonna try to put some pressure onto the druid over here, which we managed to do actually. My hunter gets into a stun, a mighty bash. Warrior has thorns up as well. I'm still waiting to bop. Now here's the blade storm. This is the moment where I bop my hunter. And now since the tree form is down, I'm gonna stun here. I'm gonna use my trinket again on the wrong target. I thought we can get this druid. I got him into a stun, he trinketed that. He got into a full trap and we managed to fuck that as well. I had to bubble here just to remain offensively once again. There is bark skin. So I got disarm once again. I'm trying to get an interrupt, I got it. But at this point, there's no more pressure on my part. I don't have any more defensives, and that close you road. So, what do you guys think was the mistake over here? Let's look a little bit back. Not here. Okay, here. So, the things are going into plan, right? We get the huge defensives up. You know, we get our also we have here the iron bark being used, and of course we get here as the warrior got low, we get die by the sword and tree. So this is a really crucial moment, right? As we have these, as I've said earlier, we only need a trinket, and we managed to get that pretty soon on. So I'm hitting the druid over here, right? And as the tree form gets down, I say, okay, now it's time to get the druid. There's no more defensives. I stun him, and this is the point. This is the break point. He used his trinket. Hunter had a full-on trap, and the warrior was at 52% HP. It was perfect. At this point, if we would have had clearer heads, we should have switched to the warrior and keep the druid in CC. It was perfect. Granted, I didn't have my stun just yet. The hunter didn't have it either. But like a full-on 7-second trap, 8-second trap would have gotten the job done. Even if it wouldn't, I still would have had a lot of holy power in his ass, because I had both my execution sentence, fucking menu, we can see it over here under my mouse, and my wake of ashes. So I would have gotten my Hodge early on still. But we fucked up, right? We still went for the druid over here. I had to bubble. Now he got into a full trap. I broke it with my judgment, and that's all she wrote. At this point, it was, you know, bear form. He got the bark skin up, so it was lost. And once again, guys, I'm pretty sure like the main theme of all of these videos is that, you know, all of us make mistakes. It's really important to like look back and see what the fuck you missed. But in general, you just have to make the right switch onto the different target when cooldowns are used and trinket is used. At least that while playing Red Hunter. I guess it goes for any class and shit like that, any comp or whatever. But in 2v2s, playing on double DPS and always having, you know, a bit harder time against healer DPS, it's always good to know and be aware of that shit. On next video, I'm just gonna do the plain old videos where I explain what I do and see properly when we did like make the right switches, we did take note of all the cooldowns being used, and we got a lot of wins, especially against healer DPS teams. Also, we got a couple of wins against rogue mage teams as well. Hard as that sounds for a Red Paladin, we did. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if this was helpful in any way, and if it was, maybe, you know, throw it in the comments, giving it a fat juicy like, you know, I always love those. And see y'all tomorrow on WoW News. Peace.